I'm Ram Ahluwalia. I lead Lumida. We're building a first modern digital wealth manager. So investors have learned a tremendous amount over the last 2 years. We've exited this 14-year period of ultra low rates and quantitative easing. Investors have learned that things don't go up in a straight line anymore. 60-40 portfolio is dead. And your JP Morgans and Morgan Stanleys of the world, they're brokers. They're not fiduciaries, which means that they do not hold themselves to a duty of care. They have conflicts of interest, they sell products, they make fees on those products. And there's a better approach. Our approach is to transform wealth management, infuse it with alternatives, a modern approach. Our unique insights that the top 1% is underbanked and underserved. I have maybe spread out. I've got an account at Charles Schwab. I have an account with a legacy advisor at Morgan Stanley because I like the guy. I have a private investments, and it's a pain in the butt come tax season to assemble all of that. This approach gives you a cross asset class perspective. You can put your fixed income, your bonds, your equities, your alternative investments, your crypto all on one platform. And it helps everyone just save. So, here we lead with service and investing. So on the service side, how many people here pay taxes in September? Who's in the September crowd? That makes sense. So I think almost every hand here went up. So we collect K1s throughout the year, and you've got to prepay your estimated tax bill in April. If you don't pay enough, you get a 10% penalty. If you pay too much, you've got an opportunity cost. That's a math problem. There's also a cash management liquidity problem. You've got to anticipate your tax liability and figure out, how do I manage the cash? Can I beat T-bills? How do I do that in a responsible way? And then how do you coordinate that across your entire team? You've got to collect the K1s. You've got to issue an instruction to pay the tax bill. Your accountant is clamoring for the 20 different K1s as well. So we solve that, and we solve that with modern technology. We put the client team on the platform. We manage the workflow. We issue them instructions. We have a portal that allows them to communicate and coordinate with each other, and we hold them accountable. We also do things like the subdoc execution. I can't stand filling out subdocs, and ensure we match it to the appropriate vehicle. So if you're investing in a strategy that generates a lot of ordinary income, like a direct lending fund, you should utilize a Roth IRA, for instance. And we also address cash and liquidity needs. There's a lot of money in T-bills right now. The after-tax return, T-bill investing, if you're in the top tax bracket, it's about 2.5%. There are better approaches. We also focus on the tax and estate. The debt to GDP ratio is 150, 160%. There's discussion around raising the capital gains tax and being thoughtful about the estate and tax plan and ensuring the integrity and compliance of the plan so it can stand up to external scrutiny is very important. So if you transfer wealth to one of your beneficiaries, your kids, ensuring there's like a crummy notice that's been issued to ensure that's a true sale. All these little details matter. We can manage that with technology. We can put the checklists and the to-dos there and quarterback that to ensure that you can focus on your time. Another key part of this, we think, is community. So we're all here because of community. Our best ideas sometimes come from our clients as well. We find the people that have expertise in their areas of specialization, and that's important. I think the other insight here is people like spending time with their peers. They want to be a part of a curated community, and that is also an objective and aspiration that we have to build out. Our approach to investing starts with understanding the client. What are their objectives? What's their risk tolerance? What's their liquidity need? What's their time horizon? Unique circumstances, and then work backwards. So we start with ensuring that the core objectives are met. They can meet their needs, and we have an investment portfolio decked against safety to accomplish that. Then we say, okay, well, how do we ensure we can maintain their lifestyle? And then with that excess liquidity, we start to say, let's talk about wealth creation. And how do we invest to deliver that? Our approach is informed by an institutional grade approach. Our team comes from banking and capital markets in New York City. This is like a David Swensen style approach that you might get from say, a Yale University, right? And on the left-hand side, you've got the wealth preservation. On the right-hand side, you've got the wealth creation. And you'll notice that, you don't have the 60-40 here. Yes, you have stocks. Yes, you have bonds. But you've got more exposure to alternative assets to give you more diversification. I'll touch briefly on two of these strategies just to fly over quickly. So this is a niche uncorrelated strategy. I started investing in this in 2011. And what they do is they invest in capacity constrained, niche, overlooked strategies that are just not scalable. For example, things like electricity arbitrage or natural gas basis trading. And you can see in the performance in the bottom right, they made money last year when markets were down. They made money the prior year when markets were up, and the prior year, which is COVID. So it's a zero correlation strategy. We like that. We also like that the GP is a major investor in the fund. Another strategy, and this links back to our outlook, is we believe there's going to be dislocation and distress. We've got the fastest pace of rate increases since 1981, and we're positioning for dislocated opportunities. This is a fund I've been an investor in for a long time. The CEO is Kenny Pasternak. He was the former CEO of Knight Capital Group. He's the largest LP in the fund, so we like the alignment. And they're small enough, about 100 million AUM, where they don't have to compete with the Brookfields of the world, but they're large enough to be institutional. They do a bottoms-up underwrite. They have access to bank term financing, and their performance about a 2 to 3x. And every vintage has delivered net operating losses, meaning passive losses, to the fund through depreciation and interest expense. But I don't expect everyone to understand everything I just said, but the basic takeaway is they're delivering real cash flow to the investor, but pairing that with a tax-efficient approach. So these are novel strategies that we think are a better way to approach the uncertainty we have with a new investment regime. We have a higher real rate regime. That means that calls for a different approach. In terms of how we're positioned in the marketplace, they're really two buckets. On the left-hand side, you've got the legacy wealth management companies. They don't have the technology, don't have the digital approach. You're not going to find social leverage listed there because they have a minimum of $5 billion requirement to be a platform there. And that's where the opportunities are in the emerging managers here, of course. On the right-hand side, you've got these niche tech-focused, but they don't have the wealth management. So we bring both the technology and the wealth management together, in a single platform. We've got a lot of traction today. We closed our pre-seed round with social leverage about 6-8 months ago or so. We're on pace for about $300,000 in recurring revenue by the end of this month. We've got a team of 3 to 5, depending on how you count part-time, and we've generated tremendous amount of recognition in mainstream media as well as alternative assets, and we publish research on Twitter as well. I think one of the other things I should comment on is, it goes back to the network and the community. We have investors that we've known for a long time that help us source ideas. We try to find who's best at what they do, who's the top of their mountain in their area of expertise. So for example, Dev Gapolan in the middle there, he was head of credit at KKR, then head of credit at Canadian Pension Plan. That's Canada's version of Social Security. They invest in private investments. He's the best at credit. Neil Berger, a longtime friend as well. He has a global macro fund. They were up 140% last year, for instance. Mike Dudis, I think he's actually a portco of social leverage as well. And we have eyes and ears on the ground around crypto. So sourcing ideas from the best experts in the world and vetting ideas with that, we think having a humble approach and learning from others is very important to test your ideas. So that's our story. I'll open up to Q&A with the time remaining. I'm also joined here by my colleague Dimitri. Okay, we got a show of hands. There's Dimitri over there. So feel free to say hello, stop by. And if we have any time remaining, happy to take any questions.